start with you, Honorable Semujju. You are very instrumental in the formation of the budget. You actually issued a minority report to this. What is your take on what has been presented today by Honorable Musasizi?
The 84.3 trillion budget will be financed by correction of taxes, I think about 39 trillion. We will also have money from other sources, local government, petroleum revenue, that will raise 44 trillion. And then government intends to borrow, I think, about 36 trillion. The moment you hear that the budget is gone up, the first thing you need to ask yourself, how is it going to affect you? The Honorable Omara and Kateshumba, we were members of the budget committee. There has been a change with the pay. Government is going to correct more money. Government is coming for your salary. So people are hearing budget speeches, they think they're talking about agriculture. Starting July 1st, they are coming to pick part of your salary. Because there was a revision on threshold, and people who earn, I think, was it more than 10 million?
Yes.
They're going to take 40% of your salary. So if you are earning 10, 4, they are coming for it.
I think you're being an alarmist.
That's what it means.
Okay.
So if you earn 10 million and the July 1st clocks know that government has come for 4 million from you, you're going to remain with 6. If you are using petrol, you buy petrol for your car, the prices are going to increase by at least 200 shilling. Today, a liter is at 6,550. July 1st is going to go up at least by 200,000. And there are many other taxes. So people listening to budget speech, you need to find out, because government now tells you are going to raise 39 trillion shilling. They are not going to sell cows. They are coming for your money, mobile money, those who are using data. So if you have clothes on your body, if you use airtime, they are coming for your money. That's what it means, July 1st. So that's how we are going to raise the 39 trillion, if we will ever, I know we may not, to finance the budget, and you're going to borrow 36 trillion.
Is this a budget where you tell people to tighten their belts?
They should, because they are, see, we are going to borrow, but they're also coming for your money. And then, so that's one side of the budget. The second side is that this money, the big figure that you are hearing, you've already noted 33 trillion is going for debt servicing.
33.4.
Yes. You have 9.7 going for salaries and wages, but there are also other things that go with those. So the money that is going to go with salaries, wages, and it's going to be about 14 trillion. I was doing calculation last night. And then the money that we will service government employees, the Auditor General put the figure at, I think, 360,000, is about 8 trillion. Money for fuel, money for vehicle, for seminar, money for inland travel, travel abroad, money for donation, special meals and drinks. That comes to about 8 trillion. So you have a budget, 33 trillion will go towards debt servicing, 22 trillion you're going to spend on government employees, just numbering about 400,000. And that's, I kept quarreling with both Omar and Kateshumba, because NRM has made everybody to believe that actually they are going to spend 1 trillion and get people out of poverty. because you have 1 trillion for PDM. That PDM, it targets 39%, 35% of the households in Uganda, about 14 million people. So 70% of the budget, you have classified expenditure at 2.6 trillion. 70% of the budget is already taken. Taken by debt servicing, taken by government employees, taken by classified expenditure. What remains is just about 25 trillion. That's what Mr. Museveni has.
Can it spur the economy?
25 trillion, which economy? Next financial year, we are going to borrow 36 trillion. 11 trillion is external financing, they call it. It is very good language. You're going to borrow about 11 trillion to finance projects. I was looking at the works. The budget of roads, because works has about 8 trillion, including railway and so on and so forth, but roads, works, is about 4 trillion. The parliamentary committee supervising that sector, in their report, they told us this financial year, which ends this month, during the first 6 months of the financial year, that money borrowed external to finance project, 1.4 trillion was released to do roads. But the sector consumed only 193 billion. Please mark my words. 1.4 trillion released to do roads, externally borrowed, but the absorption capacity of the sector was 193 billion, just 13% of the money released. The reason? No counterfunding. And the committee observed that this 4 trillion now allocated to roads, if the absorption capacity remains at 13%, it means that the close of this new financial year beginning July 1st, we will use just about 600 billion. So the roads are broken. I was looking at Kampala, where all of us live. Kampala has 2,000 kilometers of roads. Only 700 is done. Your capital city. You're supposed to have rights to write the city, 42,000 rights in Kampala. You have just 7,000. This is the capital city where everything starts. So in a nutshell, to answer the question you have asked me, we have a huge budget of 84 trillion. Near half is going for debt servicing. What remains is for government employees numbering 500,000, less than 500,000. The rest of you are crowded in 25 trillion. And the ones who have taken the biggest chunk of the money today have corrected at Kororo. These Omaras seated, clapping. The money for PDM, yay, PDM. All of you, 45 million people are crowded in 25 trillion.
Thank you. Honorable Omara. Honorable Semujju seems to paint a very ugly picture of the budget. For you, what is the good, bad, and ugly in this budget? And how does it align with Chisanja, no more sleep?
Coming after Honorable Semujju is always a very difficult task. But let me explain to the citizens outside there that the budget presented this evening by the Minister of Finance is actually a very good budget, which will answer in the main a number of issues that affect the citizens of Uganda. Let me start from the revenue side for the citizens to appreciate the progress that we have made so far. In 2021, when we joined Parliament together with Honorable Semujju, the domestic tax revenue was around 19, 20 trillion shillings. 5 years later, where are we? We are on 37, 39 trillion. When we came in 2021, where was our GDP of the country? It was $33 billion. 5 years later, where is it today? is $69 billion. We have doubled the GDP of the country. And so, if you look at the budget which was presented today, the domestic revenue is projected to be at 44 trillion shillings, which is 52% of the total budget. So we are making progress. And I would want to admit that because of the need to front-load development expenditure items like electricity, we built so many dams in the first so many years, extending electricity, building tarmac roads, investing in the oil infrastructure at Kabale, building the airports. So there are a lot of capital investment expenditures which we had to make. And most of that, because we didn't have enough domestic revenue, we had to borrow. And that is why, as of to date, you find that our national debt is about 117 trillion shillings, which is 52.7% of our GDP. So, yes, we have accumulated debt, but if you look around us, the money we have invested has managed to spur the growth of the economy to the extent whereby now we are at, in 1986, our national GDP was at around $3.5 billion. Today we are saying we are on 69. So the ambition, if you look at the 10-fold growth strategy of government, that in the next 15 years, we should be able to build a $500 billion economy. So we have doubled the GDP in the last 5 years. We are now on 69. And the ambition in this budget is basically to help us continue on that journey of reconstruction.
Yeah, but I wanted to look at this budget in bits.
Yes, so
debt financing takes 40%.
That is why I said we accumulated debts because we needed to build infrastructure, roads, electricity, in oil, investment in Kabale, in building ECOP, and so many others that we can enumerate. So we accumulated debt. That is why in the budget, about that 33 trillion shillings will go towards debt repayments and interest. And if you look at the financing strategy alone, the domestic debt refinancing is 13 trillion, which means there's the money that we have borrowed is already in our books. But since we have no money to pay for it, we have to push it forward. That is debt refinancing alone.
Okay, you are an economist.
Yes.
Does this budget pass the mark of a progressive budget?
As I've already mentioned, is that the domestic taxes have moved. That's why I said in 2021, when we came, our domestic revenue was at 20 trillion. Now, we are projecting the domestic revenue to be at 44 trillion. But the only challenge, my brother, is that the need of the country continues to grow. If, for example, the budget was stagnant, our revenue collection was going to grow where we would be in a position to fund our own budget. But because the demand of the citizens continue, like, for example, the debt ceiling kept on moving. Now we are on 84.3 trillion. Next financial year, because now we are beginning to see the oil revenues coming, in this next budget is going to be 1.4 trillion. And in the consequent year, it will be around $2 billion, which will be coming. So it would need a strategy to deal with debt. Can we now tell the citizens to say, for the time being, let us not do your roads, but let us pay for the debt? Then we can do like, which country has done it in South Africa? Is it, it's not Swaziland, it's a different country. I'll remember later. They have cleared off their debt, Namibia. They have cleared their national debt. There's nothing. So you have now to purposefully plan and say, do we continue to invest in the citizens' agenda? Meanwhile, we incrementally pay for this debt, or do we focus on debt, clean it, so you tighten your belt so that every money we get, whether it's we are going to pay 80% of our revenues towards debt, and we borrow less, and you don't cry and say, government, you are not helping us to fix these roads. So the demand of the citizens...
So in essence, the budget puts the country in a dilemma.
The debt sustainability is there. Domestic revenues continue to grow. The priority agenda which is being focused on is under the ATMs, which focuses on agricultural development, on tourism, mineral development, and basically on ICT and technology.
For the benefit of our viewers.
Yes.
Agriculture got a paltry 2.2 trillion.
Yeah.
Seriously speaking, you allot 2.2 trillion to agriculture, and then you say you want to grow the agriculture sector.
But remember that there is also other enablers. For example, over 1.8 trillion is going to be invested to help the private sector to grow. So it's not that the money that government puts to agriculture will be the one that will spur it. It is basically a comprehensive plan. So if government builds road infrastructure, for example, where 10 trillion will be invested in building infrastructure, the railways, the roads, the water systems, that would enable that local person who is growing the vegetables, who is growing their maize, to transport them easily. So if, for example, you come from northern Uganda like me, from Lira, from Pakwach, if the meter gauge railway is completed through Gulu up to Pakwach, so if I have 1,000 bags of maize and I want to bring it to Kampala, I don't have to hire trucks to be on the road, which is very expensive. I'll put them on the meter gauge and bring it to Kampala cheaply. So
sometimes you excite me. The president was in Usoga.
Yes.
He said these pharaohs are using the Tambaka road to dry cassava.
But how do you expect the president to come and now create wealth in your own homes?
So what do you start?
That is why the work of government is development. And government has put wealth creation initiatives, like the one it doesn't want to hear about, the PDM and the Myoga. Let me tell you, in the last term, this term which has ended, government injected over 4 trillion shillings in PDM. That is money that went directly to the 36%
and who
are not yet in the bunny economy. We have not yet started recovering, but that money, 400 million shillings, is already within a circle in a parish. Down in my parish, they already have 400 million in their circle, which has never happened. That is direct money.
Has it been a turnaround?
In this particular budget, my brother, is that government has put in place 2.5 trillion shillings for PDM and for the Myoga. And in the past, they used to receive only 100 million shillings in a parish. This time, they're going to have 200 million. If you tell me that is something which has never happened to a common person in the village. So we believe that will spur the economy. It will help to create the aggregate demand at the village level. And if, as the president said, this is now Kisanja, no sleep. And what the president said this evening was that all of us, we cannot sit and expect the government to come and create wealth. Or the president to now come and say, give us the money. All of us, we must now get
I want to get to Honorable Sabina, but on that very point where you said the president was emphatic on awakening everyone. Yes. Isn't the president preaching water and drinking wine when he speaks of austerity that we need now to see local chiefs riding bicycles? Yet the State House budget is getting more inflated.
1 trillion.
1 trillion.
You see, presidency everywhere in the world is an area which is safely guarded, is empowered for the president to do his job. And when you begin to look at the political economy of Uganda, there are certain things that the president does, which is not in my domain or in yours.
Can you talk austerity
Yes.
when you're lavish?
I wouldn't comment.
Well, Honorable Seminar, this definitely was your maiden budget.
Yes, sure.
Have you had time to analyze and scrutinize this budget? And what does it mean for Omuntu Wawansi?
Yes, thank you very much, my brother Simon. When I was looking at this budget, the first area I had to go to was the revenue. The sources they expect, where the revenue is going to come from. My brothers have already talked about these revenue sources, but I will concentrate on the borrowing, especially the internal borrowing. I think the world has already talked about this borrowing as becoming a scourge to this country. But it even gets worse that we have to borrow from within all that much. And that would mean that the government is going to compete with this local trader, this local manufacturer, with this, who is going to run to these banks to borrow some money. And now, if the government is going to compete with these local investors and business persons for these funds from our local banks, then it will be a disservice to the business community. You know very well that every moneylender, every bank cannot compare a local trader with the government, even in terms of recovery of funds. But if we are going to borrow over 11 trillion from our internal sources, and even the refinancing, the domestic refinancing is also over that tune, over 13 trillion, then it means that the local trader should start mourning. And the other worst bit is that most of the banks where government is going to borrow from are foreign banks, meaning that the interest that is going to accumulate on these domestic loans is also going to be repatriated. And by so doing, we are draining the economy in a way, because most of these banks are foreign banks. So I was looking at this revenue and then the taxes, because as it appears, government is trying to find other alternatives other than the development partners as a source, a formidable source of revenue for our budget. That's why you see they're trying to squeeze from all the sources, from within, tax and non-tax revenue sources. Because as they move, as they become more and more of a dictatorial, let me use that harsh word, a dictatorial regime, as it degenerates into more and more of that, sitting on human rights, all the atrocities they are meting against their fellow citizens, the development partners are beginning to walk away, and they are saying now, we also don't want your finances. We can find this money from our internal sources. So they will squeeze the nationals more, and that's why you see that the taxes are also through the nose. So the revenue, first of all, with a bloated budget is a problem.
So to what extent does this budget pass for a pro-poor budget?
To no extent, because you are not going to tell me that already when last year's budget was stood at 72 trillion, and the country was crying. I know that by this time, my brother, Honorable Semujju, they went on passing additional requests in terms of supplementary budgeting. And as we talk now, it has hit over 80 trillion, while the approved budget was 72. By end of year, we are already at 80 or over 80. So it means that the Ugandans should continue to brace for harder times.
Well, thank you.
Simon, can I provide some information? Quick one. May I tell my colleague here that because Uganda's economy has been well managed and is very, very resilient, and you need to listen to this very carefully, that in this budget, which was read today, 85.2% of that budget will be funded from resources within this country. Just a minute, you have to listen.
Okay, help us.
From resources within this country. So it will be out of domestic revenue, it will be out of internal borrowing. Do you know why we are now able to borrow domestically? Simon, because the culture of savings, because the economy is buoyant, we have been able to save about 48 trillion shillings.
How about the other notion that...
yes, the only thing is that...
the other lenders have since abandoned us.
No, even if the other lenders were to go, because now in this budget, the amount of money, their contribution to this budget will only be 14.8. 85.2, we shall handle it from here. Whether it means we are borrowing from banks or from other sources within here, it is our savings. And we must be proud about it.
It was to me, just a minute. I want Honorable Mara not to embarrass us here.
There's no embarrassment. It's a fact.
It is a very, very difficult situation for a local trader, a local businessman, that he has to go and line up with the government to source for funds from our local banks. So it's not a good thing.
Well, Honorable Katesh, already we've heard from Honorable Semujju depicting gloom about this budget.
This is budget we processed.
But how rosy is it, and how tenable is it, where you have to spend 40% on debt refinancing?
Well, first of all, the Honorable Semujju, when he came to Parliament in 2011, that year, the former Minister of Finance, the Honorable Maria Chwanka, read the budget, and the total resource envelope in that financial year was 9.84 trillion. Total resource envelope. At that time, the revenue correction was about 5 trillion. So, you are talking about not long ago, we have had members of parliament who have been in that parliament. I don't know whether that year, whether Honorable Semujju was on budget, but the entire resource envelope was 9 trillion. We are talking about 84. That is how far we have gone. In that year, the export receipts was around 2.4 billion exports. You are talking about $18 billion exports. And of course, GDP has almost tripled since then. So I don't think it is it is accurate to say that, you know, the economy has not grown. It's just that as we grow, the demands have also increased. But in terms of the budget, there is no country, most of the countries in the world have debt. In fact, our debt levels are manageable within the circumstances. You have to understand that, you know.
Sorry, I need to hear this again. Uganda's debt levels are manageable.
Are manageable. Because,
and you're spending 40%.
Because, you see, you are trying to condemn the decision of government to borrow over the years without understanding where was the borrowing going. Because if you need a road to be done, and you need an airport to be built, these are enablers. Because you are talking about the money going into agriculture, but I remember many years ago when I was growing up, how many hours did it take me from here to Mbarara? How many trucks of matoke, of milk would you find on the road broken down because of poor infrastructure? So over the years, debt has accumulated, not because we are borrowing for consumption or we are borrowing for salaries, but because we must do infrastructure to be able to enable the growth of the economy. And so the question now should be, you also have to look at the revenue base. You have a percentage of our people who are outside the money economy. So if you are looking at the tax to GDP ratio, you have a big portion of people within the GDP bracket that are perhaps contributing nothing in terms of the tax. Therefore, the efforts by government, as you have seen, in the investments in the wealth fund, trying to wake up people to get into the money economy, ultimately will drive the aggregate demand, push production, and of course, as a result, then you expand the revenue base. Because you have now a bigger percentage of the population being able to consume and paying consumption taxes. And over the years, that's how you grow the revenue base, and you are able to slowly by slowly reduce debt or borrowing. But your tax register has got less than 6 million people that are carrying the burden. So you must get as more people into the money economy so that they have money to spend, and when they spend, then you can collect the revenue and be able to finance your needs. Otherwise, even someone who does not pay tax or contribute to tax, when he falls sick, he needs to go to the hospital and find medicine.
Honorable Katesh, I want to take you back to the theme of the budget. They say full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. Where are the priorities that align with the theme?
Of course, if you look at the ATMs, and we've talked about agro-industrialization, about 2-point-something billion that has been put. But in addition, for you to be able to promote agriculture, you must be able to promote the factors that enable the production of agriculture. You need to have roads, you need to have electricity to enable agro-processing, you must secure your markets.
Do you imagine how much has been put in agriculture?
Because you are looking
at... poultry, 2.2 trillion.
So, okay, if you produce the goods and you are not able to transport them, look at the amount of money that they have put in to revive the standard gauge rail. What is it going to help? It means that if you are able to export your coffee, the enablers of you to export the coffee have been catered for.
Do you know how many times the standard gauge railway has appeared in the budget? Honorable Semujju, you could help me here.
No, I can explain, because you see, you wanted Uganda to build a standard gauge from Marava to Kampala without having a connection on the other side, because it's a regional project. So until Kenya committed to extending the SGR to the border, there is no way Uganda was going to start building a standard gauge railway that connects from nowhere.
So what happened to the first allocation?
Which allocation?
There
was never an allocation on SGR because it was not.
You could help me here, Honorable.
There has been money allocated to.
It was for meter gauge, and
There has
that
been
meter
money
gauge is now
allocated
around
for-
66%.
for the standard gauge railway for compensation. I think more than, because the total compensation will cost Uganda about 800 billion. At the moment, I think government claims that they have compensated the project affected persons from all the way from Maraba up to around Wikwe. So we have spent so far more than 300 billion on compensation. So we have always had money for standard gauge railway in the budget, not as much. But I want to invite my friends who are still in Parliament to read the reports of their own committees, reports of committees chaired by NRM. We are going to spend 2.9 euro, about 10 trillion on the standard gauge railway. If you read the report of the committee on infrastructure, the Islamic Development Bank is going to contribute about 410 million euro. Uganda is contributing, I think, 72 million. We don't know where the rest of the money will come from. The date of disclosure is supposed to be November this year. If you read the reports of government, their own reports are saying there is no plan on how this date, because 10 trillion shillings is a lot of money. We are not even sure that it will start, the standard gauge railway. We're not sure. Because initially it was supposed to have been funded by Chinese. We had even contracted a Chinese company. Now we've moved to Turkey. So the theory of what they present in a meeting and the practical part of it are completely different.
Honorable Kateshumba, you may continue.
For me, I think that there has been commitment on the side of the region. And you know, this skepticism, I remember when the East African crude oil pipeline was being discussed, the same, many Ugandans doubted that this project could actually take off. What we have seen in the recent times is that both countries, you know, Kenya has committed. If you look at their budget, they have committed to extending the SGR to the border. And I think that government will be able to fulfill the commitment. Because you see, we are a landlocked country. And one of the disadvantages that we have is that we are susceptible to high cost of doing business. Because unlike other countries, if you are going to export your goods from here outside, but you are not going to compete with someone who is producing from closer to Mombasa, who is not incurring the cost that you are having. So,
yes, sir.
Why do we need both a meter and a standard gauge railway? Because you are spending almost $1 trillion repairing the meter, and we are borrowing to construct standard gauge railway.
Because you see the interconnectedness of the region. First of all, the standard gauge railway is moving from Mombasa all the way to here, and I think eventually to Chigari and other places. But you have had the meter gauge, for example, that goes to Gulu and connects to South Sudan. In the short or medium term, you may not have the funds to be able to extend SGR all the way. So the decision by government to actually repair the old meter gauge at, you know, within the affordable means is to provide relief on that essential factor of production, which is infrastructure.
I was with you when you went to inspect the cargo, the containers coming by standard gauge railway. were being transferred to...
By the meter gauge?
Yes.
Do you see the...
If you are a poor country, because at the moment it is serving us, so I want the economics. Why do we need both?
No,
because we are with you when we are inspecting.
No, Honorable Semujju.
Yes.
The railway line, the old meter gauge that brings containers to the borders, would actually lift about 100 and would not have capacity to take on, one single lot. So, for me, I think you have to look at the. First of all, you had the existing infrastructure. It just needed to be repaired, and then you can be able to provide short and immediate term relief. As you look at the regional connectivity with SGR, which also feeds into tourism, because nowadays, one of the sectors in Kenya that is booming is tourism. If you go to Mombasa during peak season, you'll find that the standard gauge rail has actually led to massive growth of domestic tourism within Kenya because of easy connectivity.
Well, I'm afraid we need to take a very short break, and definitely when we return, we'll be digging deeper into what this budget and how it connects with the Chisanja, no sleep. We'll be back.
Frontline.
Can I have a light, please? What is this?
Castle Light, the best testing light.
Try it.
Try it, try it, try it. Da, 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 da.
Guys, look at this post.
Nothing hits like extra cold. Castle Light. Try it.
In a fast-moving world, why are we still stuck with paperwork? Signing here, stamping there, moving from office to office. It's exhausting. Now, there's a better way. With UG Pass, you can securely prove your identity, sign documents, and access government services anytime, anywhere. No delays, no stress. Everything is instant, safe, secure, and government-backed. UG Pass, your identity secured. Available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. UG Pass is a product of Nita Uganda.
Better study tips. Be vigilant. Watch out for unexpected prizes or lottery wins. Genuine contests do not require advance payments or personal information. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Brought to you by, in partnership with, Uganda Communications Commission and NBS.
Final episodes of this spellbinding saga to crown the new Premier League kings. Haaland saved. Ahmedashvili's gone the right way. Big moment. That's astonishing.
Download AfroMobile today and enjoy your favorite game with NBS Sport and NBS Sport 2, where every second and win comes to life. AfroMobile, your sports, your way.
The National Mosquito Net Distribution Campaign is back. No one should die of malaria in this era. It is your responsibility to chase malaria from your home. The good news is that the government of Uganda has once again started distribution of mosquito nets under the 5th Universal Coverage Campaign, also known as the Under the Net campaign. Under this exercise, 1 mosquito net will be distributed per 2 people in every household. A village health team member, a community health extension worker, also known as a CHU, and the LC1 chairperson will move house to house to register members of the household in preparation for receiving their mosquito nets. Do not lie back. Ensure that you register all your household members to receive a mosquito net. On the distribution date, move to your distribution point and receive your net. Mosquito nets protect you and your family members from infectious mosquito bites that lead to malaria. Ensure that you receive the net, hang the net, and sleep under the net every night.
Don't let your mornings be boring. Switch it up and start your day with a bang.
Omukwano alone, it means love. For example, if I say Nino Mukwano erigwe, it means I love you.
You know what it sounds to me? Sounds like I have a friend who is stupid. You know the emphasis on the way.
Ate mkwe pikida.
Mkwe pikida. I'm coming to pick you.
Catch the Morning Switch Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. only on 106.1 Next Radio.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
Kampala International University invites students, parents, alumni, partners, stakeholders, and the general public to the 33rd graduation ceremony to be held under the theme Fostering Sustainable Innovations and Future-Ready Graduates Through Competency-Based Education. Be part of this historic celebration on Saturday, 13th of June 2026 at the Kampala International University Western Campus, Ishaka Bushenyi, as we recognize a new generation of competent, innovative, and future-ready graduates poised to shape the future. Experience this memorable occasion as KIU honors excellence, achievement, innovation, and the transformative power of education. The ceremony will broadcast live on NBS television from 10 a.m., connecting families, friends, alumni, and well-wishers across Uganda and around the globe to every moment of pride and accomplishment. For more information, call 0788-126-849 or visit www.kiu.ac.ug. Kampala International University, exploring the heights.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back as we continue connecting the dots on everything that's been happening in the recent days as government takes root. That's the 7th term. Well, the budget is here. How do we link it to the cabinet appointment? Because ordinarily it would be the cabinet to implement. Even the State of the Nation address, does it point to, does it rhyme with the budget? I'll start with you.
If you can allow Simon, because the Honorable Mara is telling Ugandans that the money we have been borrowing and will continue borrowing is to finance major projects. If you can allow, look, in this budget, we have 211 billion for welfare and entertainment.
Whose welfare?
Of people, the 400,000 who work for government, including Omara. We have 536 billion special meals and drinks. 1 trillion travel inland. We have 207 billion for travel abroad. Money to buy fuel for people who are in government cars, 515 billion. We have money for donation, 196 billion. Gas, firewood, and charcoal, one item that I keep laughing at.
Forever.
Yes. This financial year is 33 billion. Next financial year is 17.
What is that again? Which item is that?
Gas, firewood, and charcoal. We have money for official ceremonies, which I am now told they have suspended, 29 billion. We have vehicles.
Hold it. What is charcoal for?
I don't know. And the gas.
Okay. Katesh, what is charcoal for? You passed this budget.
No, because you see, you know, my brother, Honorable Semujju, we are going to miss him because he...
But
okay, no. Let's he
he's actually very cantankerous.
He likes to pick things. You know, you have institutions, educational institutions that get a budget from government. So what Semujju does...
Like which institution? Just give me
some
one.
of the universities and schools.
You don't have
so
schools.
what Semujju
you don't
does...
have schools in the budget.
What
you don't.
No, you have got money that goes to the local governments that goes directly into the schools.
No,
so
what goes through government is
does
money
very
for
well.
salaries, because you're not feeding children. So who are you cooking for, Kateshumba?
You know,
you are not feeding children in school. Now you are saying there is money for charcoal to go to school.
Is there an item on firewood? Are you sure of it?
You know, sometimes some of his statements, you have to ask him for the source, because I know
that it's not
I
there.
have been with him on the budget,
and this money is not there.
And we have had together, me and him and Honorable Mara, all the sectors presented to us the sector budget. We examined the ministerial policy statement. So I want him to
You can see a labor-length explanation.
No. I want you to explain where you found the
where did you find this?
And NRM people are amazing. This budget of this financial year, I told them we had money for Congo. The vice chairperson, Congo, the vice chairperson of the committee on budget who was presenting, he said it is not there.
No.
And the chairman had to pull him by his trouser to say the money. He has told you the money is going to
local government.
Now he says it is not there. Yeah. Please, that money is there. If you want, just go to the draft estimate, that huge book. It has aggregated items at the end. This is where these items are. They are not from my head. You have money for...
no, but Katesh was very pivotal in...
He is. But like
Katesh, you never saw any item to do with firewood.
For me, I've told you, you know, Semujju, he has developed the art of...
art?
He has developed the art
so
of...
I include the items in the budget that are not there.
He has developed the art of picking out issues, and sometimes, and I want to challenge him to point, because the same draft estimates he's talking about is what we look at.
First, he has told you the money goes to school.
No, I have told you.
And I have told you they are not feeding children. Now he has retweeted, he says the item is not there.
No.
And now he's blaming you for your art.
Ask Omar if he has, because they gave us both soft copy and hard copies. At the end of volume 1 that has the central government, there are about 4 pages of aggregated items. For you, if you want to look, and you see, he sits on the budget committee. Our work is even to look at procurement plans. So we must know who is buying how much firewood for what. And he's admitting, he never looked at it.
No.
We have vehicles for the new MPs, 166 billion. We have...
how much is given to each vehicle?
350, it's a contribution, 315 million. We have money for furniture, which is 84 billion. Workshops and seminars, 337. The total of this, I don't have to exhaust the list, is 8 trillion. So I was only responding to...
So it's 8 for consumption?
We borrow for consumption. If you read the 4th National Development Plan, National Planning Authority is complaining, but being a government institution politely, that the targets most likely will not be made. And what do they say? The cost of public administration is gone high. In fact, they put it at about 70%. And then they tell you that apart from this, the debt itself, that the amount of money, and the Honorable Kateshumba and Omara know that when we are dealing with the budget, the target the government set in the National Development Plan, which is an extract from the Uganda's Vision 2040, they say they will want a budget of 100 trillion the first financial year, and that's how you'll be able to grow the economy. But the money is not there. But even what they claim there, 84 trillion, almost all the budgets, they will give you a bigger figure, but the money realized from borrowing and tax correction will always be raised by more than 10 trillion.
Okay, I want us now to correlate.
Yes, I want to go to the question you asked, but I thought you don't want the public misled by Omara, who says we borrow for roads, we borrow for energy. These fellows are borrowing for charcoal. They are borrowing for entertainment. You have 100.
Which loan has been presented in Parliament? You can quote all the loans. You've been in Parliament longer than us.
So you have forgotten that we have borrowed 8 trillion for paying salaries.
Tell us which
when
loan.
When we are borrowing from Amarogo in Kenya, what was that money for?
No, didn't we broke it?
No, we just broke the source, yes. But you went and borrowed.
No,
the money we picked from commercial
no loan.
banks.
As far as I've
here.
been in Parliament, I have not seen any loan brought in Parliament and passed for consumption.
So where is the money for firewood coming from?
Ask him.
I am shocked. I know Mara will not.
Actually,
borrow to pay salaries.
Every end of the year, in the recent past, every end of the year, we go with unpaid requests. No, they are not arrears because we have loaded them on IFMIS for payment, but there is no cash. And the government always has to borrow money to pay, to clear these
one more, just a second, one more. Omara says now, the money to finance the budget is going to be local money. You have about 26 banks in Uganda. Only 4 are local. You can't go and pick money from Stambika and you say it is local revenue. They arrange these loans from South Africa.
Yeah, but I think it's also a mark of trust that we can borrow within our jurisdiction.
You see, it isn't. Which jurisdiction? You're going to pay interest on money borrowed in the budget, 13 trillion. These fellows carry 13 trillion every year from your economy. And Omara is celebrating. Borrowing from South African banks and British banks. And they carry your money to Britain and South Africa. And this NRM economist is celebrating that we are borrowing. Which local? You killed all the local banks. That's why Ezra Suruma, who was your finance minister, one of the best, he said, once you don't have capital, once you don't have money, you're going to remain rebels all your lives. Your children are in Saudi Arabia, 500,000, working as maids. There are going to be no women to marry in Uganda. They're all going to Saudi Arabia. And he's celebrating this senior NRM economist. Now coming to the...
Can he finish, then we can respond.
So I want us to correlate
to the question
the budget,
yes.
state of the nation, and Museveni's cabinet picks.
Because you see, the human resource that you assemble to implement and supervise the implementation of the budget is very important. And that's why I said I don't want to bring in Abanja here, because the Prime Minister is supposed to be the coordinator of government business. But you can go ministry by ministry. I have made comments here. I am very happy with Musasi's being elevated to be a minister. He has the knowledge, he has the experience. But look at the deputies. I am told one of them, because Museveni keeps speaking to people who are around him, some of them former babysitters, he makes them ministers because they are the ones he interacts with. I want to understand the new ministers of finance, because I've been told by people who sit on the budget committee, they couldn't even answer. There is a lady who came from State House. I don't know what she was doing there. Now she's in charge of general duties. What is her level of knowledge, expertise, and what is her assignment? Because the first thing you do when you're assembling a team is to meet them and say, this is the task. Are you able to perform it? But Museveni doesn't meet people. He keeps surprising them. He will pick people who are milking their cows in Shema, and then he says, you're a minister for water. And they know nothing about the sector. So that's what he has done. So you go ministry by ministry. There are ministries where you have people who are competent, but But I think more than half are people, maybe that's why he said the Chisanja Akuna Sirip is going to...
At least he singled out local government and said, I've deployed my Kantankaras Baram and the Kwarosam.
Last financial year, the budget for local government was 6 trillion. 5.4 trillion salaries. 600 billion was for development. This financial year, and I think I was looking at the report from the Committee on Infrastructure, they have bought road equipment for 176 administrative units, districts and municipalities. They are incomplete. You've bought some two equipment, some two are missing. So we'll number a quarrel and the roads get done. Is that the answer? The local government are saying you give us incomplete road equipment.
No, it's Chisanja, no sleep.
Yeah, but...
She's going to awaken all the cows who have been sleeping.
And then they pick a hoy and dig the roads themselves. Because the complaint they wanted, I don't know how much money, I don't remember the figure. That please, thank you very much, you gave us some road equipment, but they are incomplete. One set is missing. And then you say, Baraman, Namere, go to local government and quarrel. And so after quarreling, do they pick hoes and go and begin digging the roads? So Museveni likes drama. And what he's presenting sometimes is nothing but drama. So because the justification should be, Majezi was, by the way, knowledgeable, experienced in local government. Try to understand if there are failures by Majezi, are you bringing people who are better than him? If you have had people in finance, and I'm not saying the ones who are there should have been there, and if they are not competent, are you bringing, look at works. I have told you, this financial year at 6 months, 1.4 trillion it is to do roads. There is no counter funding, and as a result, only 193 billion is consumed, 13% of the money that is available. You don't have counter funding. On that, what is Museveni's solution? He picks a nursing officer, Bia Mukama. That guy, his qualification is a nursing officer.
Yeah, but he's been a state minister.
Does it matter? So a nursing officer for you is the one who will fix works problems. Will go and negotiate and read the contracts and he understands them and commits you. Officer? That is his qualification. You ask him, you can please bring him here and he tells you his qualification. Some of the ministers even don't have the basic qualifications. They don't have. And Museveni has done that before. You have had parliamentary appointments committee turning away people. So the question you're asking is a very serious question. Assuming the money is available, do you have the right human resource to go and implement the budget? And I'm saying in only a few dockets.
Thank you. Honorable Mara, is there the will and the human resource to implement this budget to the letter?
President Yoweri Museveni normally says the challenge number one is about what needs to be done. And so after assessing and finding what to be done, then you can pick who to do it. As I think, just like this evening with a high sense of humor, he said when he was moving around the country, literally, from one place to another, there were a lot of complaints around PDM money being stolen. A lot of problems, PDM. So many unanswered questions. So maybe that might have formed his decision to say, maybe Honorable Magezi, and he would call it, said he would call him on phone and said, what about this? Have you resolved this? So he said, I have finally found
a
Kantankaras guy and a Korosa woman too, and let them go and quarrel there. So he has found what the problem is.
Don't you find this casual, rather casual?
So you just...
Merit has been reduced to madness, cantankerousness.
No, I think, as I said, that was he said it with a great sense of humor. So he finds out what the problem is, ministry by ministry, and he selects the most suitable people to go and do the job. And so if they fail, and he even warned them, he said, if you fail to perform, I will sack you. That is his message to the ministers. So whoever is appointed to lead, to be part of a ministry, a team, then I think the first gun has been shot. The bullet has been fired. That it is Kisanja, no rest. If you don't perform, I will come for you.
Well, Honorable...
So the responsibility is the executive
Honorable Sevina, the opposition was also rallied to join the president in monitoring the projects to ensure that the beneficiaries and that there is fiscal discipline. How, do you heed the president's call?
I think in the recent past, there have been efforts to blackmail the opposition by depicting them as if they are not bothered with what is going on in the country, they are not doing their work. And you'll find that every failure that the government is experiencing, they find a way of also bringing in the opposition. I have heard ministers and MPs talk about, for instance, this money they go and share, and then to sanitize it, they come and tell the public that, you know, we were there with the Semujjus also. The Semujjus also came and picked money, the opposition. So, even today, I think the president was sort of trying to bundle up the opposition into this failure of ministers and other public officials who are responsible for the direct contact in these activities. The opposition is doing their job. And I'm very sure if the opposition was not making these alarms in many instances, there are many things that would go astray. So, for us, the core functions of a member of parliament, for example, are well known. And if you look at who is doing what, you realize that it is the opposition actually struggling to make sure that these things go the way they are supposed to. So, I really don't think that...
yeah, but you had the president this time. He sounded a stern warning. The president literally repeated the very issues that he raised in the State of the Nation address, where you actually boycotted.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, but does it give you a sense that this time the president is very categorical and serious?
But the president has been categorical in many instances. He's been in power for 40 years. He has never come and talked soft to his ministers or whoever is sending out for a task. He has always been talking like that. But when we go down to scrutinize the way he behaves with some of these would-be approaches by his team, you find that at times I would say he's responsible for the failures of these people who are supposed to carry out these tasks.
Do you feel the frustration of the president, where he says he's let down by his own?
I wouldn't, because you know, many times when the IGG came crying, he wanted to raise a stick, and it was the very president who told him, who told her, I'm talking about Betty Kamya this time round, who told her to go slow on some of these findings that Betty Kamya had come up with. So I think some of these efforts that are meant to fight corruption, for example, to fight this laziness we are talking about, these reports that come out from the Auditor General year after year and they are never acted upon. I think there's no way you can come out and blame the opposition for all these weaknesses.
Thank you. Honorable Katesh, the three moments that have defined Museveni's 7th term: State of the Nation, the impasse on cabinet. Up to now, we still have 4 slots that are vacant because the president nominated, pushed their names, and they were rejected. Now we're also looking at the budget. How do you correlate these?
First of all, I want to, my brother here, he comes from Masaka district. Masaka City. He's been elected as a member of parliament on NUP ticket, but the moment you take the oath and enter parliament, you carry the responsibility to your people. Masaka district, it is vote 888. I don't know whether you have actually taken responsibility to look at the amount of money that has been appropriated for the city under that vote and the district, and actually gone deep to see within that budget how much money is going for roads, how many schools are going to be touched, how much money is going into inland travel. Because you see, what the president has been consistent about in the last addresses, the State of Nation, the budget speech, also when he addressed us as NRM caucus, he's been emphasizing the role of us, the leaders. Because we come here, you know, his party was very clear during the campaigns. They wanted to abolish PDM, okay? This is on record. Now you are a member of parliament. PDM is there. I don't know how many parishes you have, but the president is taking the responsibility, saying, look, you, the members of parliament, I have put money into parishes in the last 4 years. I think more than 4 million people have got money under the parishes, the 10,589. So you as members of parliament, as leaders, go back to the people and look at where we are putting money. We have 1 billion that goes into the roads. We are members of the roads committee. What is our role? So for me, I don't want us to say, you know, it is government, it's not doing, opposition is doing its part, but you have to be very specific. Let's go into specifics and say, look, if money has been appropriated for my constituency, do I actually follow up? How can we mobilize our people? Even though we did not support, your party did not support PDM, but now this is a flagship project that is targeting many people to get into the money economy.
Actually, I'm sorry to interject. For the opposition MPs, they can only find their footing by being very, very vocal, being very, very strict, and following up on these government programs. And for us, we point out these weaknesses and reports are made. That's where I started from. That instead of correcting what has gone wrong, you choose to hide behind the opposition. The opposition is doing this, the opposition is failing us, the opposition. When the reports are there to be acted on, I want to tell you, my brother Katesh, that I could not sit here. I've been following my city for over 4 years, and I know each and every year's allocation in terms of budget.
Yes.
So you cannot ask me such a question, whether I know what is in the budget. Of course, I know everything, and I know the weaknesses, and I've even been talking about them.
Well, thank you.
We are saying, my brother Simon, that let us not hide. We have pointed out, for example, the flagship PDM. We have pointed out the weaknesses that go with PDM. The reports are there. PDM in its setting, they tried to, they depict it as if it is an NRM project. And therefore, when these people are using this money, it's like they assume it is NRM is paying.
Yeah, but your president said if he was elected president,
let me tell you something.
He would abolish it.
Probably you might find it difficult to understand this. But what I'm telling you, the fate that befell those other earlier programs, the Ntandikwa, the Bonabagagawale, the NADS, is about to befall PDM. Because the 7 pillars that make up PDM are not talked about apart from the finance.
Okay.
We cannot be prophets of doom. You need to look at the impact that has been realized in the last 4 years. If you look at the growth rate we have experienced, Paul here has talked about the doubling of our GDP in the last 5 years. When we entered Parliament and now, it is on record. Now, no, the GDP is the worth of the country. It's not about the debt you are talking about. So if you look at double-digit growth that is projected to be realized in the next financial year, one of the contributors is investments in the wealth creation activities that have been done that has increased production. So what we should be looking at is one, the oversight that makes it effective to work.
This Kateshumba here, we are budget committee together.
Secondly,
one of the questions he asked at finance, Kateshumba,
you are trying to divert me.
Was that
because I know where you are going.
Was that domestic taxes are not growing, international taxes, and he said, you see, you've invested money. That money there must be a corresponding increase in taxes because the subsidy levels have gone. The aggregate demand you were speaking about.
That was true.
This one,
and
he said it's not there.
No.
Then you say that
you need to understand what if you look at many years back, you had a lot of revenue coming from international trade taxes. Over the years, because of increased investment in industrialization in the country, there has been a turn around that more and more domestic revenue now supersedes the taxes from international.
Did you make a suggestion to the fact that
simply because this point I'm making, simply because that you have had input substitution, we have had a positive trade over the years. Some of the products that we used to import are now locally manufactured. So over the years, you have had more and more of this growing. But the point I add, which is very valid, is that as we invest in the wealth funds, okay, get people out there, get the money economy, it means that those people have some money in their pockets to be able to spend. And so over the years, we should be able to see the consumption.
So you're at home with what I said?
He said, you see.
Yes. And that's
Simon, just a second.
I even included it in my
contradiction.
He asked the question that because of so many wealthy funds that you guys are running, how comes the subsidy taxes are not growing? And he said, you see, women, as a measure, women who have money, you will see these taxes going up. And I said, Kateshumba could that money, but he was laughing.
Simon,
he's walking away from his observation.
Simon, let me paint a picture.
It's just a state of growth. Because it's only time that you expect now the expansion of...
allow his interjection.
Let me paint a picture for you. And we might be repeating ourselves, but if you look at the way this economy has grown, most times people say, don't talk about GDP, talk about the cash flow. Now, with this budget, our tax to GDP will move up to 15.9%.
That's the forecast.
And we are going, a moment we reach 20% tax to GDP ratio, what would likely happen is that we would be in a position to 100% fund our own budget. So the way the economy is moving is already moving in a right trajectory. So, and if you look at the, how do I put it, the people who are enlisted in the URA register, there are about 5.7
but the ones who are
million
active,
people.
The ones who are active.
The ones who are active is 2.7. And out of the 2.7 who are active, there is that about 1,000 major big taxpayers who contribute to almost 75% of our total tax. What does it mean? Is that if we, the president's strategy of making sure that we bring the majority of our people into the money economy, the wealth fund that Honorable Kateshumba has talked about, putting in more money, if you look at the Minister of Finance today enlisted almost about 9 of them, different wealth funds, which is going outside there. So that one is basically to help spur the growth of the economy so that we have majority of our people contributing towards our tax base. Because now you have only 2.7 million people handling basically this thing. Out of how many? We're almost 48 million.
Honorable Katesh,
yes.
You're concluding your point.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that the challenge has been thrown to us by the president. And as leaders, we must know that for this country to grow, we must grow the levels of production. You cannot have majority of the people not be carrying the burden of everybody. My friend here has said that what befell the other schemes is about 4 PDM. I do not think that there is a program that has been designed in the past as more perhaps effective and more in touch with the population than as PDM, because this one is going directly to the parish. So for me, even if the success rate of PDM is progressively low, but it is creating a culture of production that even if for example, you look at the 4.4 trillion that has gone into the PDM over the year, even if you add the rate of growth of, say, 10%, if it was capital invested, you would still have gotten some...
Yeah, but one of the biggest impediments to realizing the targets has always been fiscal discipline. When you listen to the president and look at what is on the ground, do you get a sense that this time there will be a bit of discipline working within the limits, the boundaries of the budget, or it is business as usual?
The truth of the matter is that we've all talked about the issue of fiscal discipline, but also beyond that, being able to do oversight. Because, one, we need to look at these projects. And for me, strengthening the committees of parliament to be able to do oversight is very, very, very essential. Yesterday we passed a law. The National Economic Committee must be able to monitor the implementation of this law. We must be able to look at the Ministry of Agriculture and Water and say, if we have invested money, for me, what disturbs us over the years is the issues of commitment.
Yeah, but I think it's also self-defeating to say the National Economic Committee passed a law.
It is not there. They don't have a committee on national economy.
No, I have said.
Parliament.
They don't have a committee.
Yes, the parliament followed the rules. Honorable Semujju knows to pass it, whether by consensus we agree or not. But ultimately, when the Committee of National Economy is formed, together with the sector committees of water and environment,
you already passing loans.
They should be able to. They should be able to look at this.
Unprocessed loans.
Honorable Katesh,
at this
you were already passing loans before you constitute committees.
You know, I thought that NBS was covering the proceedings of Parliament yesterday.
Yeah, but
because I'm surprised.
You are on NBS.
Intimidating you now.
I'm surprised that you actually don't know.
You are on NBS.
So, my point is
yes.
that let's look at the substance.
No, yes.
There are irrigation schemes that have been promised to be done. And so the question should be, can we effectively ensure that if we have borrowed money to put up irrigation schemes, they are done on time, and we are not paying for commitment fees because of our inefficiency.
How was yesterday's loan passed?
I have said that I saw NBS journalists covering the event. So I am surprised that Simon Kagwa, you are asking how it was passed.
Yes, procedurally. How is a loan passed? For the benefit of our viewers.
The Speaker of Parliament evoked a rule, if I don't recall, Rule 8, because of the circumstances. What I heard from the motion of the minister is that they had limitations in terms of the time within which they needed to take on this loan, beyond which the cost was going to be.
Is that regular?
The offer had a deadline of 13th of this month.
Beyond that, we were going to have, it was going to be extremely expensive. And this loan is it's the second phase of what has been done before. So for me,
do you find this regular?
But for us, we don't believe it. I want to set this.
No, you'll have your time.
I need to conclude my point.
No. This is very important. I think it can also swing our debate. Yeah. Parliament is the first culprit of fiscal indiscipline.
No.
What do you mean?
This loan is part of the budget program for this financial year, 2025-2026. And therefore, it needed to be approved. This offer was received some time back, but the Minister of Finance said due to circumstances beyond his control, he could not present it. Now, by the time it was presented, the framers of the Constitution never envisaged a situation where, in a transition of Parliament, from one Parliament to another, Parliament would engage in a matter like that of approving a loan before the various committees were instituted.
Really?
Yes. So the Speaker said, in that kind of circumstance, there is a provision under the parliamentary rules of procedure, which gives the Speaker to make a ruling to guide the House. So instead of the Speaker referring the matter to the Committee of National Economy, the entire Parliament was turned into the Parliament of the full House.
So was this an emergency loan?
It was an emergency because the offer from the Citibank was time-based. And he said by 13th of June, if we do not have parliamentary approval, we would withdraw.
What was this loan for?
For irrigation. For irrigation, phase 2 of irrigation, attack to coffee production.
Honorable Semujju, do you find this regular or irregular?
I don't know why people want to justify everything. Because it takes an hour to constitute committees of Parliament. Just within an hour, you are done with the committees. Because when you are passing a loan, essentially, you're looking at the terms and conditions, but you're also looking at other commitment that the government has done in the borrowing plan, because every budget is accompanied with a document called the borrowing plan. And they will give you a formula. This year, we are going to borrow so much at a commercial rate, so much. So all those documents, you are supposed to sit down and see where that loan is aligned. It's not possible to get 523 MPs to study the terms and conditions. Those documents are huge. And after studying them in 1 hour, they have studied the borrowing plan and seen that this loan fits within the borrowing plan. It is not possible. So what they are doing is actually engineering. Because what Parliament should have done is to constitute. So who has stopped you from constituting committees? That's the level of inefficiency. Talking about ministers, you can't constitute committees of Parliament. Why? Because the chairpersons are supposed to be approved by himself. Very old man. So until he has time, but also very old man doing many things. He may not even remember that the committees are not constituted. At his next convenient time, is when you will convene the sake of NRM to constitute committees. So they are now working without committees. But the trouble, and Kateshumba spoke about it, the commitment fees. We have borrowed money, I think, I haven't looked at the latest figure. You have about either 12 or 14 trillion that you borrowed, but you are not utilizing. And when you're not utilizing a loan, you are charged commitment fees by the lenders. Even the ones that have borrowed. Recently, Finance did a study of 50 projects. And externally funded projects. There is a report from Finance. 46 of those projects have either delayed or stalled, including money, about $300 million we borrowed to do the Ginger Expressway from African Development Bank. We borrowed the money, we are not utilizing. Why? Government doesn't have counter funding. The same applies with standard gauge rate and everything. Ordinarily, the parliament should be bothered. And it's embarrassing parliament. That's why the committee will vet ministers and it doesn't hear them in. He says he's still investigating. But you have finished passing them. He makes you really look sharp. We have passed loans and then he writes and he says, who passed these loans? I am stopping all of them. And Kateshumba is telling you, and Omara, you know, because we were time bad, that when they came for money for Ruboa, same story. We are time bad, we are time bad. See, Ruboa, which was supposed to be completed in 48 months, it is now 10 years, and they are saying we are about to complete. So the NRM MPs think that they have a duty to defend everything, including things that are foolish, that nobody will defend. Well, that you can't constitute committees, and therefore you are passing loans.
Does the president have
and you said he's okay.
A formidable team to roll this budget through, and his ambitions, as highlighted in the statement?
You have to understand that government is a system. The whole ecosystem of government starts from the technical, constitutes the technical and the political will. So I think it is only fair for you to judge people after they have failed or succeeded in carrying out the mandate has been given to them.
It's too early to judge.
It is not business for anyone to say someone who has been appointed.
No, but when you look at the lineup, is it a lineup that gives you that impression that we are up to the task?
I do not know. First of all, since the last cabinet was dissolved, and the time when we have had people to assume office, government has been running. Not so? So you have got the technical wing of government. It is provided by the permanent secretary house. They are running, and the ministers are giving oversight. So for me, I cannot get into the thing behind the appointing authority, whether Kagwa and Njala is competent or not. It is his determination. My duty is oversight, legislation, budgeting, and appropriation.
You cannot say it's not your duty. It is your duty 100%.
You are asking me to
say this one is not feed. That's why they bring them to you. Now you are saying it's not. So whose duty it is?
He's not a member of the appointment
committee. They have brought parliament. It is your duty. Number one, to say this minister is not feed.
Honorable,
and now your TV is saying not my duty. So whose duty is it?
I'm not the appointing authority.
But he's not a member of the appointment committee.
I'm not a member of the appointments committee.
The appointment committee is supposed to file a report to Parliament. You cannot escape this.
Well, we'll take our final break, and when we return, we'll still be looking at, now that the budget is here, as Ugandans tighten their belts, how best can the country swim within what is available?
Frontline.
In a digital world, not everything is what it seems. False stories today spread faster than truth, leaving us all wondering what's real. Disinformation misleads, misinformation misguides and spreads confusion and fear. Dismiss, a campaign to help you think critically, question wisely, and verify thoroughly. Join us. Let's build a more informed Uganda, one truth at a time. Dismiss, inquire, verify, confirm. Together, let's fight fake news.
Hey travelers, are you a family gearing up for that big vacation, a hustler working abroad coming home, or your squad chasing sunsets and passport stamps? It's time you lock in. Say goodbye to long airport queues, shocking roaming bills, and the stress of hunting for local SIM cards, because now you can travel like a local. Stay connected in over 180 countries. Just scan, tap, and boom, instant data the moment you reach your destination. Get your Rogue Travel eSIM today at travel.roguetelcom.co.ug. Contact us on 020-5000123.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mu mutima gukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, endungu ya kusabula. We gonna do free on fire, free on fire, free on fire.
Across Uganda, the parish development model is paving the way for prosperity, helping families transform their lives through strategic farming practices, like the 4-acre model.
In our Chibaro of 1996, we said first acre, put coffee. Second acre, fruits. The third acre, you put pasture for dairy cows. The fourth acre, for food, cassava. The good thing is that now cassava is also becoming a very good cash product.
$10,000 tilapia, we get in one harvest 20 million shillings.
Fruits, especially capsule, which is cold, can do very high value crops like apples. And then finally, those who are near the wetlands, like the ones in Bukit who are wasting the wetlands, they should do fish farming, not in the center of the swamp, but at the edge of the swamp.
From coffee farms to fish ponds, the 4-acre model is empowering Ugandans to transform their lives. The parish development model is your pathway to wealth creation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
The world's greatest football celebration is on UBC on Star Time! Starting 11th June to 19th July, the World Cup is the only thing that matters. Don't miss the last dance of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Neymar Jr. on channel 201 or channel 447 on StarTimes. StarTimes Reward. Make monthly subscription on your current bouquet to enjoy upgrade to the next higher bouquet on us. Classic and Super Bouquet customers, you enjoy 5 days extra. Powered by StarTimes.
Breaking now. Now Post delivers Uganda's fastest, accurate news as it happens. From hard-hitting headlines to exclusive interviews, we bring details of stories everyone is talking about. Accurate, fast, and balanced. Get every update at nowpost.co.ug. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and never miss a moment. The Now Post. Accurate news, fast.
The Ministry of Health informs the public to remain vigilant against Ebola virus disease. Symptoms include diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, fever, and body weakness. If you or someone you know develops these symptoms, seek medical attention immediately. Protect yourself and others by avoiding handshakes and unnecessary physical contact, washing your hands regularly with soap and water, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer. Cleaning frequently touched surfaces and avoid direct contact with infected persons' body fluids like vomit, stool, sweat, and urine. To report a suspected Ebola case, send an SMS to 6767 and type alert, or call the toll-free number 0800 100 066. Report early, protect lives.
Frontline.
No, Trump cancelled. Welcome back as we get into the last lap of the Frontline tonight, making sense of the national budget and, of course, state of the nation and the presidential cabinet appointments. Honorables, as we get out of here, you already projected it's going to be tough times for Ugandans. What do you see in the coming days and weeks? Is there likely to be, now that the president has sounded a warning, is there likely to be some bit of adjustment, or it will be business as usual?
The president was posturing. He was posturing to you, the public. He knows fairly the capacity of the people he is appointing. He has already told you, in the local government, they appointed people to go and quarrel. And they are going to be judged by their attributes. There are others he gave appointments by the virtue of either family relationship, by what they have done before, including people who are tired. You have an 82-year-old president who is tired, but he's also surrounded by people who are tired. Kamuntu was an interior minister in 80. Yeah, 80. They are old people, they are tired. Crispus Chionga.
Yeah, but he looked in shape. You saw him with his
There is this one they brought in a wheelbarrow in the last parliament.
The people have won elections. They have just won elections.
Even Moses Hari did.
Professor Kamuntu won.
Mogodekwe was brought in a wheelbarrow in the last parliament for voting. Smuggled through the office of the president. He couldn't walk.
Wheelbarrow?
Yes. Through the office of the president for voting. You have people in cabinet who are tired. Allow them peaceful retirement. The Honorable Kadaga and others, they have worked, they are tired. And then you have others who need a lot of orientation, even to understand what it means to be a minister. They are first overwhelmed by the appointment. They haven't recovered. And then you need to take them through training for them to understand what a minister does. I told the people there are basic things that for me I will do if I'm going to appoint people in Uganda as ministers. We have the National Development Plan 4. I'll make sure that I distribute copies to people I'm going to appoint, and then I'll have a meeting with each. You have read? Yes. What is our target? But you give people ministries, they don't know the target of the ministry, they don't know the target of government, and then you are saying, if you are lazy, I'm going to sack you. Lazy over what? In the last development plan, which was development plan 3, government had set out to create near 1,890,000 jobs every year. They claim to have created 300,000. So most of the targets are not made. But people are celebrating. I am told when they are meeting him, they told him, Museveni, we all need to be reappointed because we have contributed to growing Uganda into the lower middle income status. Because they never had targets. You judge people by the targets. If you set targets, then you'll know so and so has not. Just ask one single minister one of these days, what were the targets set for you before the swearing-in ceremony? None of them has a target.
Well, Honorable Mara, what do you see in the days ahead? Is it gloom or?
It's going to be very interesting. As you said, I think the ministers will undertake orientation. Currently, there are various ministers are handing overs and the new ones are entering in. The permanent secretaries are there. As Honorable Kateshumba said, they are the technical people who run the ministries. They will have to orient the ministers to know the critical issues that are there. I think the president, almost on 3 occasions, have been talking tough about, to the political leaders and the ministers that this is Kisanja no sleep. Hopefully, he will be able to act if people don't perform. So I think the signal has gone throughout the country, and people are aware that corruption will be fought. I think from Kampala and also in the local governments. And Honorable Namere is going for them, the local government officials.
To quarrel?
Not to quarrel, to cause some action there. And we wish her well. As Parliament, the Right Honorable Speaker, Oboth, has already said he's going to empower the committees of Parliament so that they could function. And as committees of Parliament, we are going to hold the ministers, the MDS accountable.
By the Speaker.
Yes, in terms of resourcing.
The budget is already passed, not by the Speaker.
The budget is passed, but
that's how you people become subservient. So the Speaker, did he pass the budget?
Why are you conducting results?
I'm just asking, because you are saying he's going to empower them. We have already passed the budget for Parliament next financial year.
Yes. And so we would, the moment the chairs of the committees are formed, then the business committee will sit. And the business committee would set the agenda for Parliament. And one of the things that personally I would want Parliament to do and the committees to do, to hold the executive to account. And we have passed the budget, and for them now to take action. So we need now to follow the money, Simon, to making sure that the monies are not eaten, that the money has been, there's value for money, and that the execution is happening according to plan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Honorable Javida.
Yes, sir.
I think you've started off with a lot of playing to the gallery. The other day, you absconded from State of the Nation. Today you turn up in black.
Simon, by the way, is the shadow minister of finance.
Finance, yes.
Honorable Mara, you don't have to overemphasize that. The whole world knows that I'm the Minister of Finance. But there's something I wanted.
No. Let's begin on that very note. The way the opposition is playing.
I don't want to call it playing to the gallery because we need to send out our voices to be heard. And this is the way we have been doing it, and we will continue to do it that way.
So what was sent out today? And what impact did it create?
We were in a mourning mood. Why? Because the government seems to be very adamant on the issue of human rights. And they don't know what injury they are causing to this government or to this country as they continue to behave, to be adamant against the people's plight in terms of human rights violations. So that's why.
So you turn up in black and then what?
We turn up now. Haven't you noticed it? Haven't you?
And then?
Then you have to think about it. If you are part of those Ugandans who feel things must change, you have to think about it. No, I don't want you to lose. I don't want us to lose what I was going to comment.
Yes.
Because Honorable Kateshumba wanted to, no, not even wanting, was saying that in the recent past, we've had a positive balance of trade, balance of payments.
Trade.
You said trade?
Yes. Because I was talking about the exports.
Maybe you might have mixed it up. But what I wanted to say is that this government must know what they want to achieve. And after knowing it, get serious over it. You know, there has been talk that there's no need of people to go abroad. We have work here to do. You don't see why people should go to a desert when they leave this country dripping with the honey and milk. But this balance of payment that we are proud of now has been boosted by remittances from this.
Thank you. Honorable Katesh, is Chisanja Hakuna Sleep starting off on a steady note or on a shaky note?
The stage has been set, and my neighbor here, who is the Shadow Minister of Finance, we are waiting to see what the opposition is going to present as the alternative budget proposal.
We have already presented, maybe Honorable Katesh is not following.
No.
We have already presented our alternative budget, and what we are waiting to see is how much of it are you going to pick to help boost the performance of government.
No, you see, once the budget is presented, so we expect you now to come forward and tell us. But where I agree with you, we are not going to have theatrics. If we are to serve the people, whether it is opposition or not, we have to be very, very serious with the roles as members of parliament. Yeah. We have to do oversight, and oversight at the center, but also at the local governments. Yes. And empowering the committees of parliament, the commitment, we have it from the leadership of the House. Yes. So I expect all of us to be able to, because if we sleep as members of parliament, then we cannot have, we expect our people to do what? Not sleep. So if it is Sanja Hakuna sleep, we must go down on the ground, talk to our people, follow up the budgets, and make sure that we actually see it that these government programs that we have budgeted for and budgets passed are actually implemented on time.
Thank you, gentlemen. And of course, news, if you've been tuned in to Frontline, in the World Cup match between Mexico and South Africa, Mexico has won 2-0. That brings us to a close. Have a lovely night.